In this video, I want to review how you can place grid points by using the Hilti Field Points software in AutoCAD. This function is actually extremely straightforward, but to make sure it's very clear and understandable, I'm going to isolate my grid layer. Now that my grid layer is isolated, let's go ahead and create some grid points. I'm going to go to Place Grid Points, and all this is another point creation option for you that's customizable for grids. I'll simply select the entity I want to use. I'll keep using the Circle X option. And here it's asking your number pattern. When you are numbering your grid, how do you want the numbers to go? Left to right, in numerical order, then down, increasing in order, then down, increasing in order, or some other pattern. This is completely up to you, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it on this little snake-like pattern. As always, choose the layer and your annotation options. I'll keep my layer as the grid layer for these points, and I'll go ahead and put my annotations on as automatic. If you are remaking points on an existing grid that you already made points on, simply set your preference whether or not you want to leave the original or replace the new point. For me, I usually just keep it at leave original. I'll go ahead and call these points grid points, starting with the number 1, and I'll leave out the suffix, and of course you can always add attributes, as we've explained in other videos. Now I'll say place, and you can see at the bottom here, it's simply asking you to select a grid line of the grid. So I'll go ahead and click on this grid line A, and notice it highlights the entire grid for me automatically. If I'm happy with that, I can either press Enter or press A and Enter. And what you'll notice is that every intersection now receives a grid point, as you can see here. It's extremely straightforward. So up here at A1, I start with grid point 1, and down here at the very bottom, I finish with grid point 225. Now a second note I'll make about this option is that you might not need to use this, especially because it is very easy to make intersecting line points on the tablet, and most likely if you're in the field using a total station, you don't need to point at every single grid intersection. You might have 3 to 5 to maybe 7 different control line intersections that you're going to have access to that you trust for your control. So perhaps instead of using this option, maybe use the Place Manual Point option and just click on the few intersections that you know the infield team is going to use for their layout. But of course, this option is still available for you if this is your workflow.